Let's move on to the big development. As TTSL's verdict on Cyrus Mistry is out, and the TTSL EGM has voted to remove Cyrus Mistry as the director of the company. Joining me now from the Mumbai studio is Kritika. Kritika, over to you. Another new development in this matter now.
Well, you know, Arif, we were expecting this, but yes, this is one more point to brand Tata and to Tata Sons. So shareholders have voted in favor of removing Mistry from the position of director. Now remember, Tata Teleservices is essentially the telecom arm of the Tata Group, and it is the parent company of the listed Tata Teleservices Maharashtra. So essentially, Tata Teleservices is an unlisted player. So we can't get you the exact breakup like we did yesterday in terms of how many retail and how many institutional shareholders have voted in favor or against. But yes, a majority have voted in favor of removing him. Now, you know, the basic numbers that we have right now is that Tata Sons has about roughly 32.6%. That was the last available data that we had received. So it wasn't really a hands down or as easy a verdict as yesterday's would have been. But again, it's an unlisted player, so we perhaps wouldn't have seen as much of a contention. We in fact understand, and my colleague Priya Sheth was reporting since morning from outside Bombay House. It was a smaller scale EGM. It was on the 4th floor in a conference room in Bombay House. Many directors in fact had joined in via video conference. Several voting had happened online as well. So perhaps it wasn't as huge as TCS, but yes, this is significant. One more round goes to Tata Sons. We in fact have HP Ranina and Suhas Tuljapurkar joining in. Thank you, gentlemen. You have been with us in the entire coverage of this battle. Mr. Ranina, let me come to you first. What do you make of this? Was this an understood statement that Cyrus Mistry will be removed, or is this a surprise to you?
No, nothing surprises me, for the simple reason that, you know, under the company law, the shareholders by majority can remove a director without assigning any reasons. Now, here is the case of Tata Teleservices, where there was an issue with Tata Docomo, where Cyrus Mistry had made all attempts to make the payment, but the Reserve Bank of India and the government did not allow the payment. And that did not go well with the Ratan Tata Group. And therefore, they felt that this was one of the reasons for removing him. But this seems to be obviously something which cannot be justified, because if the law doesn't permit you to remit the money to Docomo, then obviously you can't do that. So really, Mistry is not to blame for this, but yet this is one of the issues which has been raised from time and again, that Mr. Mistry tried to bring down the reputation and image of the Tata Group by not fulfilling the commitment, contractual commitment, which was agreed upon.
Let's bring in Suhas as well. Suhas, coming on the point of Docomo, how much of a role would the Docomo issue have played in the minds of shareholders while they were voting in favor of removing Cyrus Mistry?
Kritika, I agree with Mr. Ranina on both the points. I think, yes, there's no surprise here in Tata Teleservices. And the second, I think one of the relevant aspects was a Docomo issue. But between the time that the notice for extraordinary general meeting was given and the meeting has been held, there is already a RBI opinion which I believe is kind of made available to the court that, you know, insofar as the agreement between Tata Teleservices and Docomo with respect to the price and valuation is concerned is unenforceable under Indian laws. So that's gone home there, but it does not seem to have reflected in the shareholder sentiment. What seems to have reflected is that, yes, I mean, there is loss of confidence at Tata Sons level when it comes to Mr. Cyrus Mistry. And therefore, as a kind of a cascading effect up to Tata Teleservices, which may not be a listed entity, but it's definitely a public company. So I think in terms of rigors of corporate governance to that effect would still apply to a public company, and it is a public company with kind of substantial turnover and substantial business, although its shares may not be listed. So to that effect, Docomo issue does not seem to have had any role, adverse or otherwise, on the outcome of the shareholders meeting. The third aspect is that this is probably second revalidation after the TCS general meeting of the fact of that the reasons cited by Tata Sons on the explanatory notice to the EGMs is getting revalidated again.
Okay, fair enough. Suhas and Mr. H.P. Ranina, we'll have to leave it at that. Just to remind our viewers, Tata Sons holds 36.17% shares in TTSL. It's the unlisted parent company of TTML, and now shareholders have voted in favour of removing Cyrus Mistry from the position of director, and as a result of that, he ceases to be the chairman of the company. With